It's Friday, so it's time for our Agile, Not So Agile episode of the Daily Stand Up Podcast. So I thought I would talk to you about something that has been on my mind. Uh, just recently, I've been having this whole battle with myself and with peers and with other people talking about it, about what it's like to be in control, and is it always a precedent, or is it always a need that you must be in control, or is it okay sometimes to be out of control? So I thought of two examples where people feel like they want to have less control. So, one of those would be when you're watching a really scary movie or in a haunted house. You don't necessarily want to feel like you're in control, because if you felt like you're totally fine and in control, then you wouldn't exactly get scared. And I think part of the whole idea of going to a haunted house or watching a scary movie is to get out some of that energy and to feel like you're scared, or to feel like there's something going on. But what I've also discovered is when you're doing something that's adrenaline seeking, like doing skydiving or cage diving with sharks, or anything that gets your adrenaline pumped up, you riding a roller coaster, like a really good roller coaster at Universal. Those are things that get you jazzed, and those are things that you don't want to be in control. You want to feel like you're out of control. But with regard to the rest of your things in the things in your life, how much do you have the desire to be in control, and is it healthy? That's the question. So I've seen lots of different studies on all different types of things, from understanding what true empathy is to serving others. And what I can tell you is that in the majority of those cases, people want to have enough control over how they are going to address or handle a subject matter, but they don't necessarily have to have the complete control to make all the decisions and to drive the decision forward. So, what I thought would be fun is to break this down into three categories about how we can better understand control, and how we can better leverage what we know, and how we can get our head around what we can't control, so to speak. So, here we go. So, the number one thing on my list is the obvious. Don't try to be in control of everything. There's just going to be some things that fall outside of your control. For example, you can't control the way another person feels. Likewise, no one can make you feel a certain way. So I think that when it comes to control, you have to say to yourself, is the catalyst for what's causing me to feel this way in my control? And if so, what can I do about it? And if it's not within my control, then why am I wasting the energy to try to solve something that I have no control over? And I think that so many people can relate to this. It's a relatable thing. It's not something that you can just say, "Hey, I know that I know that there's a switch, or that there's like an automatic button that I can press that'll just make everything back in my control," because it doesn't work that way. So if you're trying to consider what's in your control, and if you're trying to make sure you're not trying to control things that are outside of your control, which sounds weird, you can start by leveraging your mental capacity to say, okay, here's a short list of the things that are bothering me, and then asking yourself, what are the things, why are these things bothering you, what's making you upset about them, and then what's within your control that you can do to solve those problems. So that all boils down to number one on my list. Number two is never try to control or leverage the will of others. It comes natural, right? As part of being human. Our whole goal in life is to have things our way. I mean, Burger King said it best: BK, have it your way, right? You rule. But the problem is, sometimes you don't rule, and sometimes you need to be thoughtful and considerate of the needs of others. And I think that if you come in with that attitude, it's gonna bring you a lot further, and you're gonna understand and see things through a different light. And that brings me to number three: learn and practice true empathy. Empathy doesn't just mean walking a mile in someone else's shoes. It means remembering to take your own shoes off first, so you're not walking through their empathy with your bias. You need to make sure that you take off the glasses and take off the filters and look and see things how they really are. Because I think if you look at your life and you see things see everything like it really is, it's going to make it easier for you, A, to have empathy, B, to care, and C, to be in control. But is it always requisite to be in control? It's one of the top three things. People want trust, people want control, And people want to understand that you are a good communicator. They want you to communicate. They want you to be open and honest, right? And I think that if you can control, no pun intended, those three things, those are the three things that are going to help you be better to others and help you live a better life and help teach other people what your expectations are so that you can have a better experience. So I guess what it all boils down to is if you communicate well and set realistic expectations, then you can be in control of things that even sometimes are out of your control, but not to the point where you're imposing your control or will on others. That's going to do it. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you have a topic you want us to discuss, learn more at AgileDad.com. We'd love to hear from you. And as always, we encourage you to stay healthy, stay well, and stay agile, my friends. Until next time, do take care. Have a great weekend.